Garcelle does say, like, I'm not the only person that believed that. And Dorit was like, who believed it? You and like 4 other people on Twitter? And let me tell you this. No, it must have been like thousands of people on Twitter, because when this first happened and I had first posted about Dorit's break-in, so many people were talking about how they thought it was staged. Now, do I think it was staged? I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not involved. I can see how someone may think that it was staged, like what burglar is going to give you your phone back. But I can only go off of what Dorit says, since she was the person that was involved. She says it's not staged, so okay, it's not staged. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Happy Friday. I hope you guys have all had a great week. I know I have. It's been very low-key on my end. Nothing too exciting going on. It's been kind of crappy out, so I've just been like in the house, watching Netflix, binging all the shows, and that's about it. But I hope you guys have had a great week, a little bit more exciting than I have. But this week, we are going to get into the reunions. I want to talk Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, part 1. And I want to talk about last night's final part of the Southern Charm season 10 reunion. And then hopefully, if we have some time at the end, I want to give my thoughts on a few things from Real Housewives of Atlanta and maybe like the latest episode of Summer House. But we'll see how we go with the first 2 topics that I want to hit. But let's head over to Beverly Hills. All right, guys. Part 1 of the season 14 reunion for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let me tell you, it is not what I expected whatsoever. It took a turn for me, like, to a place where I did not think it was going to go. It all of a sudden turned into what I thought was kind of like a pile-on Garcelle, which I was not, like, expecting whatsoever. I definitely think that some of the other ladies, their time is coming, but it just, for me, didn't go to where I thought it was going to. And it gave me a little bit more clarity onto why Garcelle made the decision she did to not return next season. So, obviously in the beginning of the reunions, love when Andy goes around and says hello to all the ladies, and he got right into like the PK and Dorit of everything. They obviously did a little montage about the separation, and he kicked off the conversation with telling Dorit that her cigarette scene pretty much broke the internet and launched 1,000 memes. Now, guys, we've talked about it before. That moment from The Real Houses of Beverly Hills where Dorit is like riding in her car through like the hills, smoking her cigarette, literally gave me so much life. There is nothing more that I love than a housewife or like a Bravo lab like getting busted smoking a cigarette. There's just something about it. Now, I'm sure many of them like do it and they just try not to get caught. But it was so funny because obviously Andy had told her like this moment sparked so many memes online. And Andy asked her like, have you been a smoker for a while? And Dorit was like, oh, we're going there. Are we? Like, of course we're going there, Dorit. We want to know what is going on with you and your smoking habits. Like, obviously, she said that she is just a social smoker. Erika had said, like, it probably turned into, like, a stress smoking situation. But I was obsessed with the fact that he, like, just came out and asked her, like, are you a smoker? I mean, obviously, we've seen so many iconic, like, cigarette moments amongst the housewives. Dorinda, Luann, obviously Dorit. I'm trying to think of who else we've seen smoking a cig. I mean, just like a bunch, right? There's always like random photos online. Like, so one of the funniest things is like, obviously, if you are in this world of like making memes or like posting like stuff about the Real Housewives, like you go into Google and like you're just Google searching images. So I would be lying if I told you I've never Googled Real Housewives smoking cigarettes. I 100% have, but it'll show you like all of them. It's hilarious. So love that they covered that topic. I thought it was so funny. So a few things that I noticed in the beginning of this reunion. Obviously, he talked a lot about the relationship between PK and Dorit. I don't really want to get too much into it because I just feel like it's so ongoing and like things between them are always changing. Like at one moment when they ask her about the divorce, she says like they're totally okay. And then it could be a week later in another interview and they're not talking. So I am going to save all of that until the reunion is over and kind of get a gist of all of her responses from all parts of the reunion. And then we can discuss like what my thoughts are on that. But I will say, so many people did think that Dorit was coming in hot this season because there were like rumors swirling that her job was on the line. A lot of people thought that she had announced this separation as kind of like a way to save her spot on the show. And listen, it's not like, it doesn't seem like that's something that someone on the show's like wouldn't do. Like I could see them doing that essentially. But Andy did ask Kyle if she felt like Dorit was coming in hot to save her job after a fan question was asked saying that like Dorit came into the season like so hot as an attempt to save her job. And Kyle had said it felt like that in the beginning because like she was noticing a Dorit that she did not recognize. And I will say like I noticed it as well. Like in the beginning of the season, I was like, oh wow, like Dorit really like clocked in. Like she clocked in and like came to work. This seems like one of the most Dorit focused seasons like in a very, very long time. And it felt like maybe someone told her, like, you need to bring it or else you're not coming back. And who knows if that's what happened. She could say it's not, but it could have. And that's maybe what gave her the push to do it. But I'm glad that, like, other people noticed it as well. And Dorit asked Kyle, like, she said to her, she's like, you've been on this show for so long. You have friendships, like, existing friendships with, like, executives that are on the show. So if my job was at risk or on the line, then like you would know. And Kyle was like, yeah, and I stand by what I said. Now she didn't say that like anyone told her that like Dorit's job was on the line, but she did like stand her ground with what she had said previous to that, which was like, you were acting different. Like, I didn't know that person that I saw. So it really was kind of like, she said it without saying it. And I'm not surprised whatsoever. Every week I was like, wow, is Dorit really doing like, maybe she's doing like a little too much. Like, I love when a housewife brings it, but she really brought like crazy energy. Like she was calling people like see you next Tuesdays. She was like really like going after Sutton. It just seemed like whenever anyone said something like to her that she didn't agree with, she kind of just like flipped the switch and went fucking crazy on them. I understand her circumstance of like, obviously she's going through something. So like her mood could probably like fluctuate, I guess. I don't know, but I'm glad other people caught it because it really did seem like a Dorit that we haven't seen on past seasons. And who's going to say, I will say it was probably one of Dorit's best seasons. She really stood up for herself against the women. She really kind of went against Kyle, which is like something that a lot of the women really seem to be afraid to do. But she talked about the separation with PK. She is talking about like the kids, PK being an alcoholic. Like she really did open up like the doors to her life and was like, this is all of it. So I will say, I do think that if someone from above, a higher up at the network or production did say something to her, she really took that and ran with it, because I don't see her going anywhere. I definitely think that if her job was on the line, this past season definitely solidified her coming back as a housewife in the next season or two. What I will say is, again, like I had mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, is the Garcelle situation. I really did not see this taking a turn to be like a let's go after Garcelle type of episode. And it really was like the second half of the reunion really felt like they were all coming for her. And from some of the reactions that I saw on Instagram when I posted Garcelle leaving the show after this season, I didn't realize that so many people like really didn't care for her on the show. I love Garcelle. I have said it last week. I've loved her for a very long, since before she was on the show. So I was surprised to see that a lot of people in the comments were kind of like against her being on it and were happy that she was leaving. So I don't know. And I'm listen, we all like different people, that to each their own, but I was shocked because she seems to be favored by Andy. She seems, obviously we know she's very successful, self-made, well off. It just seemed like everybody loved her. So to see the comments, I was just like a little bit shocked. But it starts off with Andy saying that on Entertainment Tonight, Erika says that she wished Garcelle and Sutton opened up more about their real life. And Erika's like, we want the juicy scoop. And Garcelle was like, I don't know what else I have to show. And Erika was like, who are you dating? Like, we want to know, like, who are you seeing, girl? And I just want to say, like, I just find it a little rich of Erika to go and ask Garcelle, like, who she's dating. Like, who are you dating, Erika? Like, I mean, not for nothing. Like, and don't get me wrong, I have very much come and like Erika very much like won me back. I like Erika on the show. Obviously, when everything was going on with the financial situation regarding Tom and the victims and all of that, of course, everyone looked at her a little sideways. But the first like couple seasons after all of that happened, she really like won me back. Like I am an Erika fan, but girl, like all you did this season was remodel your home. So like, what do you mean you don't think she's interesting, or you thought she would be more interesting because she's not opening up more about her life? I mean, like, this is the thing, okay? Like, Erika does say, like, okay, me, Kyle, Dorit, all had to go through, like, nasty divorces on television. And it's like, okay, Erika, but, like, not everyone is going to get divorced or be involved in some type of criminal activity or have, like, these legal issues. Everyone has a different story, and that is what makes the show the way that it is. And, like, the reason for, like, an ensemble cast, because not everyone is going to have something insane going on in their life. So other people have other stories to kind of, like, balance everything out. And it just made me feel like Erika almost wished Garcelle had, like, something to go through. So, like, so that they could talk about it. Like, I don't know. It just felt very strange to me. Like, the fact that she said, I just thought you would be more interesting, because I mean, you weren't that interesting this season. Like, yeah, you were there for Dorit. Yeah, you got, like, into it a little bit at the, like, the finale episode when you asked, like, who was talking crap. But again, girl, you remodeled your home this season. So, like, let's pump the brakes, because, like, you weren't making these big revelations throughout the season either. And you never know what's going to happen, like, when a season, like, comes and goes. Like, something in her life major could have happened that she could have brought to the show next season, or you know what I mean? Like, not Dorit really, like, didn't have anything going on in her life the last couple seasons that were, like, or maybe it was before, like, the home invasion, and we're gonna get into that. I will say. So it was just, like, a little weird. It was just a little weird to hear her say, but I will say, speaking of the home invasion, Andy does ask Dorit, like, how it felt hearing Garcelle say that she thinks that the break-in was, like, orchestrated. And Dorit really did say, like, she felt like Garcelle was pretty much saying that PK would put his family at risk while they're at home at night with the kids sleeping, that how could you insinuate that PK would do something like that to his family? And I love Garcelle because, like, she stands in what she believes. And if that is her opinion, that is her opinion. Insert, like, Tamara Judge, like, that's my opinion emoji, because it really is what she thinks, and she's not going to change her mind unless there's a reason for her to change her mind. And Dorit does say, like, I'm not the only person that believed that, or Garcelle does say, like, I'm not the only person that believed that. And Dorit was like, who believed it? You and, like, 4 other people on Twitter? And let me tell you this. No, it must have been, like, thousands of people on Twitter, because when this first happened and I had first posted about Dorit's break-in, so many people were talking about how they thought it was staged. Now, do I think it was staged? I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not involved. I can see how someone may think that it was staged, like, what burglar is going to give you your phone back? But I can only go off of what Dorit says, since she was the person that was involved. She says it's not staged, so okay, it's not staged. But it was not only Garcelle and 4 people on Twitter. Now, obviously Dorit knows that. I think she was just using the number 4 as, like, saying, like, not many people believe that it was staged. Girl, I will tell you from what I saw, hundreds to thousands of people thought that this was made up. So it wasn't just Garcelle and a couple people online. It was a lot of people. And I'm just happy that Garcelle, like, was just like, I'm done talking about this. Like, I don't even want to, like, acknowledge it anymore. The break-in was, like, seasons ago, and now, like, we're still talking about it. Like, get over it. Like, move on. Well, like, it is a lot. And I did love that when they broke for lunch at the end of the reunion, Sutton did go and talk to Garcelle. And Garcelle really was like, I thought that, like, Sutton was going to have it coming for her. She's like, I didn't know that I was going to be the one that was, like, going to be getting attacked out there. And when Sutton was sitting with Garcelle, Garcelle did say, like, fuck you, Erika. Like, what do you mean I'm not interesting enough? Like, sorry that I don't have, like, criminal issues, or I don't have a rich husband. Like, I'm self-made. Like, I do all these things on my own. Like, who do you think that you are saying that? Like, fuck you. And that is when I was like, oh, Garcelle is done. She doesn't give a fuck anymore. That's when I knew. I was like, when she was walking out for lunch before they got into that scene with Sutton, that's when I knew she was, like, over it. I was like, oh, it clicked for me. Like, this is the reason why Garcelle isn't coming back, because these ladies are fucking nuts, and she is better than that. I am very excited to see the part 2 reunion of Beverly Hills, because Jennifer Tilly is coming out. Kathy Hilton is coming out. They are going to talk a lot more about the season. One of the things that have been, like, living rent free in my mind that is, like, up and like, we're waiting for it to come up on the reunion is Kathy Hilton saying she had told her daughters that she could be a lesbian, and Andy was like, what, you told your daughters that you could be a lesbian? And Kathy says that she did it, like, to support Kyle. Like, it's just it is something so very Kathy to say. I am enjoying the reunion. I'm enjoying part 1 of the reunion more than I had enjoyed the entire season of Beverly Hills, but I'm here for it. I believe the Beverly Hills reunion will be 3 parts, so part 2 will air next week. We'll talk about it, because I can't wait to see what Jennifer and Kathy have to add. But, I mean, for a part 1, I would say it was a 10 out of 10. I very much enjoyed it. And while we are talking about reunions, let's go to Charleston and talk about Southern Charm. All right, guys. So last night, Southern Charm Season 10 Reunion Part 2 aired. It was the final part of the reunion. And I will say, I overall enjoyed the season. I was a little bummed at like some of the stuff that was left out. Obviously, we've talked on episodes past of how the cast has posted like footage that you didn't see or something that was like left on the cutting room floor. And a lot of that stuff looked so much fun. But I enjoyed season 10 overall. I mean, I really could have done without like the Venita and JT thing. Love Venita. I mean, JT, I can take him or leave him at this point, whatever. But overall, I really did like the season, and the reunion was good. Two-part reunion I thought was perfect, because sometimes when you get these 3 parts, it feels like you're just kind of dragging on something to like get another episode when you can really fit everything into 2. So I very much enjoyed it. Listen, you guys know this. Like, and I say this every time I talk about these shows. Southern Charm, Summer House, Southern Hospitality. Like, those are the non-Housewives shows those are the places I like to be. The Vanderpump Rules, when they were on, I love the Valley. So those are my people. So I did like a few things that I did like. We're not going to cover the full reunion because a lot of it was just kind of like repetitive talk on like the Paige and Craig breakup. And we've covered the Craig and Paige breakup like so much. I'm obviously going to get a little bit into it. But I want to talk about some other stuff that happened. I did love that Andy broke down like some conspiracy theories with the cast. And obviously, if you're a Southern Charm fan, you know Craig is big on conspiracy theories. So he brought 3 conspiracy theories to them, and he just wanted to like talk it out. Like, let's see what's going on. Number 1, the Austin and Madison wearing matching polka dots to the horse show. The theory that they kind of coordinated those outfits, and they did not, obviously. JT says that he took that one and ran with it, and that he will like walk it back. He shouldn't have said that they had like planned it. And it was funny because Austin made a comment like, oh yeah, like I called Madison and said like, let's wear polka dots. Like, I want to get back together with you. Like, I'll fight Brett at the horse race. Like, he was obviously just kidding, and like the tone that he was saying it in, he was just like, you be for real. Like, we didn't coordinate matching outfits. But speaking of Austin and Madison, I am obsessed with their friendship. I love it so much. They have come such a long way. They talk about it in the reunion last night too. They really have made strides like in their relationship as friends. Brett has hung out with Austin. Madison gets to film with Austin. She like loves poking at him and was like, he's gonna be like my baby's gunkle. Like, it is just, and it's just funny. And I'm literally, because if you remember when they first broke up, I would have thought that those two would have never been able to coexist on a show, that the production company would have had to have picked Austin or Madison, and one of them would have had to go. But the fact that they didn't, and they are both like stars of the shows, like, it could not be happier. Austin, I think this was one of his best seasons that he has ever had. You can definitely tell like he is very much grown up like since seasons past. I just think he's been amazing. Everyone online is saying he's the number 1 guy in that group. And listen, I have to agree. At this moment in time, I do think Austin is the number 1 guy in the Southern Charm group. All right. The second conspiracy theory that Andy had them address was Austin cheating on his girlfriend when they were on their way to that like horse show. Rodrigo was saying something about how Austin and his girlfriend had been together since like the summer, and Leva was like, the summer? It's been that long? Like, I know girls who have dated Austin. And Leva had admitted that it was a timeline issue, and they just got like mixed up in the way that Rodrigo kind of like explained it. She does say that she reached out to Austin and apologized. They squashed it. All right. Conspiracy theory number 3 is like, really was like the number 1 like topic of conversation this season on Southern Charm, which was JT calling Miss Patricia a bitch. Andy says this does not exist on camera. And Andy, like, asked the gang, like, who believes that it happened? And the only ones that raised their hands were Craig, Madison, Sally, and Austin are the ones that raised their hands. Now, I will say, I do think that it got like way more exaggerated than like what it actually was. Do I think that he called Miss Patricia a bitch? No, I don't. I believe that he did not. So when you watch it, like Craig says that like 90% of it, like, or someone says that 90% of everything that JT did like was true. He believed it. It was Shep. And I stand with that 90%. I think that calling her a bitch was in the 10%. I don't think it happened. We'll never know because there is no footage of it. So right now we're taking Craig's word versus JT's. But a lot of people seem to have sided with JT in this because it doesn't seem to be part of his character to speak about a woman that way. Obviously, we've seen his relationship with his sister or with his mother on camera. So like, I just feel like he kind of was raised better than to talk about someone like that. And he obviously seemed to like respect Miss Patricia, and like he wrote her the handwritten letter apologizing. Like it just seemed to have gotten like overly exaggerated. Now, it was just, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, do you think he called her a bitch? I think people are torn on this. I really do. I don't know. Now, in the beginning of the season, I was like, oh, he totally did, because I was believing everything that Craig said. But as the season went on, I'm like, okay, no, Craig could have definitely, like, he probably ran with this a little bit. He's a storyteller. We all know this. He, like, embellishes things a little bit. But it's part of his charm, I guess. So, speaking of Craig and the truth, Andy tells Craig that on Watch What Happens Live, he said that he has never lied on camera. And Andy tells him that they played a montage on the show of him lying, and that he's going to play the montage for him at the reunion now. And Craig says, okay, like, I'll walk you through it. And they show the montage, which really had to do like a lot with Craig and law school and how like he didn't graduate, which I don't know. I'm assuming at this point he graduated, but Craig did say that he mailed in his application for the bar and it was denied because he was like missing a paper or like a final paper or something. He says that he walked at graduation, but he was missing one credit. And Andy was like, so you lied about graduating. And Craig goes, well, define graduating. Like, he just couldn't say no. He was like, well, define graduating. So who knows? I'm assuming that he did graduate law school because he opened a law practice and he tells everyone he's a lawyer. So I'm assuming that, like, since all of that happened, he did graduate and he is an actual lawyer. I don't think he's practicing right now, but I could be wrong. I have no idea. But it was just very funny. It was just the define graduating. I can't even say that because I keep thinking of like defying gravity. The define graduating was hilarious, and just the face that he made. I was literally obsessed with it. Craig also said that, like, while filming, he would never say anything that could impeach him at the end of the day. But it was just crazy. It was just fun. It was just hilarious. Like, the way that his responses are so, like, he doesn't want to get himself in trouble. It's hilarious. We did get a couple minutes with Miss Patricia at the reunion. It was her first reunion, she said. She said it'll be her last. And in those couple of minutes, I mean, it's Miss Patricia. I love that woman. And the fact that she was like, no, I love this set. It looks amazing. There's a painting of my house. You guys have fake antiques. Like, she was just judging it. But I think I think she loved it. They did do a flashback of the cast and their original casting tapes from season 1, which was hilarious. I love when they show the casting tapes on a show that's been on as long as Southern Charm. For example, Vanderpump Rules. they showed casting tapes for Vanderpump Rules season 1 in one of the seasons, and it was just so funny to like go back and see how they were before the show even like got picked up by a network to like where they are now. So they showed Whitney, Craig, and Shep, because obviously Shep and Craig have been there since season 1. They are the only OGs left. Granted, Leva was on season 1 and other seasons past. She just wasn't a full-time cast member. But Craig and Shep are the only OGs left that are still like full-time on the show. Obviously, Whitney pops in, but he's like an executive producer on the show. And he has a cast photo, but he doesn't go to the reunion. So like, I think he just kind of like stands off to the side, which I think is weird. Like when he's involved, like, I don't know. I feel like if he's a full-time cast member, he should have to go to these things. Who knows? Whatever. I don't really care about Whitney right now. But they also showed Miss Patricia, and they really like kind of highlighted like 10 years ago how these boys in Charleston were, like what they like. Shep talked about how he's in commercial real estate, but he really does nothing. Or Shep's talking about how he's in commercial real estate and really does nothing. Shep's always said like he was told to always have businesses where you don't have to do a lot of work, but the checks come into the mail monthly. And we saw Craig talking about how he is in law school and wants to be an attorney because he loves money and like he wants to be rich. And then we see Whitney talking about the boys and how all his friends in Charleston are just like fun and probably always drunk. Whatever. We also get to see Miss Patricia, who has not aged one bit. She is stunning and she just looks gorgeous. They talked to Miss Patricia a little bit about Paige. I don't really want to get into that because they covered one question. It wasn't that serious, but that was quick. She was only on the reunion for maybe like 2 to 3 minutes. So I was surprised. I thought they would have kept her there a lot longer. The fact that she flew to New York, had hair and makeup, had to go out there. And granted, she probably filmed longer, but on TV, she was only on there for a couple minutes. But it was interesting to see her there for her first time. They talked about the newbies, Molly and Sally. Listen, I will say I love Molly. I think she is a very good addition to the girl gang on Southern Charm. I think she fits in well with the ladies. She's funny. She's quirky. She's like the tuba goddess. Andy talked to her about like her body image issues and how she said that she really feels like she likes when people talk about it because she feels like she can relate to them. So like she talks about it, and I'm sure her DMs are flooded with women who can relate to like how she feels. But I just loved her. I thought she was a great addition. Now, I will say for Sally, I had like my suspicions about Sally going in just because like there was so much chatter online about her being on so many other reality shows. But I will say I grew to really like her on this show. Listen, never judge a book by its cover, because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to hate this girl. Like, she's not that, like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I will say I did meet her in Charleston when I went to the By the Way restaurant opening. She was very polite, super cool. At this point, I had already made my decision that I liked her on the show. I'm just saying before the show started, like when we got the teaser, I was like, oh God, this girl's now on Southern Charm. No, I think she's a great addition. They did talk about Sally and Taylor, and Sally says that like she does not run around talking about like Taylor and Gaston, that like Taylor still has like Sally's name in her mouth and has had it like the whole season. It seems to me that Taylor is upset because Sally went into coming on the show and into this group of girls in the friend group talking about Gaston when her friends had like really not even met him yet. So they were getting to hear about him through her versus actually hearing about him through Taylor and himself. I don't know. All I know is that I don't think Sally and Taylor will ever have a friendship. And Sally made that known on the show at the reunion last night, saying like, if Taylor is with Gaston, then I don't want to be her friend. And Taylor was like, well, then I guess we're never going to be friends. I mean, listen, it is what it is. Like, people just don't like each other. It's okay. As long as they can coexist on a show, whatever, keep it moving. You don't got to hang out with each other outside of filming. So I will say, we'll get back into the Craig and Paige breakup real quick. Andy did ask about that Joe D'Amelio guy that Paige was rumored to be with, like, in December. It was so long ago. I hope that's even his name. And Austin saying that he didn't think the stuff pertaining to Joe and Paige were rumors. And Austin did say that he shouldn't have said that. And that he only said something because it looked like repetitive dates were going on. So he just thought that something was going on between them, even though he didn't know for sure. He said, he even said, like, I don't know what her day-to-day is. Like, I shouldn't have said that because I don't know. I just went based off of what I saw, like, in the articles. Andy did ask Craig if he thinks that she cheated on him, and Craig shut it down right away, saying he doesn't even want to touch that topic. And again, they asked Craig, like, if he's talked to Paige, and they asked Craig if he's talked to Paige, and Craig just says that, like, she hasn't responded to him, and she's just completely cut him off. I mean, listen, down the line, can they be friends? Probably. The breakup is so fresh. A good cutoff probably is just what she wants right now. Who's to say? I mean, listen, time heals all wounds, right? It is what it is. Keep it moving. Craig also did say that he was just blinded by wanting to make the relationship work. And that is kind of where he was at with that. That's where they kind of left everything with the Craig and Paige breakup after the 2 parts of the reunion. Now, thank God it's over on Southern Charm, and now all we have to do is wait for Summer House to continue the ride out of their season and what's going on pertaining to the breakup over there. Obviously, we have the rest of the season of Summer House and their reunion before it's fully over. But the Southern Charm chapter of it is closed, and now they can move on. Now, they did get into a lot of talk about Austin and Craig, and Austin did say he is afraid to, like, he's nervous to say anything to Craig and, like, fear that he is going to, like, get his head bit off. And Andy asked the entire cast, like, who on the cast is, like, afraid of Craig? They all raised their hands. Like, it was like, boop, boop, boop. Like, their hands were going up all over the place. Now, Craig did admit that he does have a temper problem, that he is working on it. But, I mean, I can see, like, how they would be, like, a little afraid to, like, approach him about everything. Like, just based off of, like, reactions that he's had in the past with other cast members. But it was just wild. It really was wild to see, like, all of that. Craig did go in on Austin a little bit, and listen, at the end of everything, they're going to be friends, I believe. I don't think that they will ever not be friends. I just think that they are going through a little bit of a rough patch. But Craig did say that, like, he knows what Austin's goals are and that Austin wasn't doing anything to, like, get there to get those goals met. And I will say, like, I don't know. I want to approach this, like, the right way. So it seems like Craig's issues with Austin are, like, his drinking and, like, his going out. But it also seems like Craig is now on this, like, newfound, like, sober journey. But just because he's on a sober journey, he shouldn't be judging other people for still going out and drinking. Because he even admitted that Austin does not have a drinking problem. But Austin had said, like, I can go out and, like, have margaritas with Rod and be home by 8 o'clock. Or, like, go get mimosas on a Sunday with my girlfriend. And, like, I posted on Instagram and you're DMing me that, like, oh, you're in your party era or something like that. I don't know. There's something about people who don't drink, who it's almost like an elitist mentality where, like, you think that you're better than somebody who actually does drink. And, like, I mean, like, unless you think your friend has a problem with it, then just keep your thoughts to yourself. Is, like, what I'm saying. Like, and I love Craig. I love Austin. I love all of them. I just don't like the judgmental, like, aspect of any of that. Like, if you don't think he has a problem, then why are you worried about his drinking? And then Craig even told Austin, like, I just don't like when you drink. And Austin's like, yeah, I know. But, like, how many times have you drank with Austin? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys there were seasons and seasons of shows of just them going out and, like, having lunch and getting drinks and, like, doing all this stuff. I don't know. It just seemed a little weird to me. Again, it's like an elitist mentality for people who are sober, who just judge people that are drinking because they don't drink. I don't like that. That's all I have to say about that. But I will say, overall, season 10 was great. Now, my thoughts on what they need for season 11. Obviously, Leva's gone. I don't think JT's going to come back. I don't think Taylor's going to come back. Listen, I just don't. I like Taylor Ann Green. I really, really do. I actually have hung out with her. I think she is great. I just don't think her fit on the show is there anymore. A lot of people have said that they would rather see her on Southern Hospitality. I can see that because those are actually her friends over on that show. I think her time with this group is kind of just like come to an end. So I don't think Taylor is going to come back for season 11. Obviously Leva's not coming back. I do not think JT is going to come back. I would love Craig, Austin, Shep, Madison, Vanita, Molly, Sally, Rod, and like 2 new people. Like, listen, Ryan wasn't even at the reunion, so I don't think we'll be seeing him again either. But I'm bummed it's over. Season 10, that's a milestone to reach. So many of these shows don't see that many seasons, so they should be very proud of the show that they have created. It is literally one of like the top shows on Bravo, and I just can't wait to see what season 11 brings. I just like, take me to Charleston. Now, like, I need to go. I feel like I need to go to Charleston. It's literally my favorite city to, like, go and visit. I think I need to go. Like, maybe this summer. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. If I go, maybe I'll plan something for people who are down there. But kudos to the cast, crew, network, production company, all of it. Another amazing season of Southern Charm in the books. And we'll stay tuned for season 11. All right, guys, I want to briefly talk about what is going on in Atlanta. Now, I'm not going to get into everything. I just want to give my thoughts on a specific situation. Listen, Atlanta is back, honey. I'm obsessed with this season of Atlanta and the cast. I just want to know, why the hell was Kenya Morgan fired for what she did when Britt Edie is threatening people with guns? Somebody make it make sense. Because to me, that is worse than what Kenya did. So it blows my mind that Britt is talking about pistol whipping people and that she's got guns and she's calling her husband, and it made it sound like she had the guns on her. It was absolutely insane. And I don't know if any type of like punishment or any type of like anything was put on Britt, but it definitely should have been, because that is absolutely insane. I did not expect that to be the reason why Kenya did what she did. And on Sunday's episode, we are going to see Kenya's reaction to all of that. But I will say Kenya did do an interview where she did say, like, she's always the housewife that is, like, the most vindicated. Because she is always saying, like, just wait until you see it. Wait until you see it. And she even said it with this situation. And now we're seeing it. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? Britt escalated their, like, interaction to a whole nother level that it did not need to be. Almost like she was looking to get a moment off of Kenya. But Kenya is such a seasoned housewife where she wasn't going to let her have that. And she knew what she was looking for. But Britt ran with it. And listen, I saw someone say online, this is the Real Housewives of Atlanta, not Love and Hip Hop, and I could not agree more. That was absolutely insane. I don't think we've ever seen a housewife threaten somebody else with pistols and pistol whipping and like all of that stuff. It was absolutely crazy, and I obviously, if you see the preview for Sunday's episode, you will see that Britt is like now almost kind of like backpedaling, where she's like, I would never do anything to hurt Kenya. Like, she's bringing her flowers and all this stuff. Listen, a little too late, honey. You did it in the moment, and you could say that you were mad, but you looked crazy as hell doing it. And now Kenya is going to show you how a housewife reacts to something like that. Listen, I don't know where the season with Atlanta is going to go. I am loving it so far. I did not like that. I wasn't expecting it, like, whatsoever. I was not expecting it at all. But it is interesting to see, and it will be interesting to see how the ladies kind of move forward with Britt. Because, listen, I will tell you, like, if she did all of that in only, what is it, like the fourth or fifth episode are we on? Like, I feel like that could almost make her like a one season wonder. Like, girl, like, did you just shoot yourself in your foot with your own gun? Like, it is just crazy. It's absolutely insane. But I will say, I think Shamia is the best addition to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm loving Kelly. I think she is great. I am liking Angela Oakley. I think she is like fun. She brings like I don't know how old she is. I feel so bad by saying she brings like this like older, mature vibe to the show. I don't know how old she is, but I like her a lot on the show. I love them all. Portia is giving it to us. I'm loving how Portia is interacting with Kenya, and the fact that like next episode is Kenya's last episode, and then we're just not going to get to see any more of her for the rest of the season is crazy. But I will say, I do think that Kenya will go to the reunion, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of unresolved issues between Kenya and Britt and like everything that happened, that hopefully they'll bring her to like clear some of that up. But I will say, what I can see happening is Kenya will say, I will go to the reunion, but I don't want to be on stage with Britt. I don't know. It's too early to tell. I have no idea, but I hope Kenya will be at the reunion to like talk about all of this. And then hopefully she comes back next season. Like, I want to know like what the terms of her termination were. Like, is she just done, or are you just like, did you guys just suspend her for the rest of the season because of what she did? I want to know why Britt wasn't punished. That was, I don't know. I can't talk about it anymore. Again, I just thought it was crazy. Guys, if you are loving the pod, please do all the things. Rate, review, subscribe. If you have your friends that love Bravo, send them a link to the podcast and invite them over to the party. There's so much coming up, guys. We're not far off from The Valley is coming out in about a week and a half, so we're going to be talking about that so much. But until next week, love ya. Bye.